Hello and welcome to this episode of Futures, the podcast series brought to you by CIPS, the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. Hi everyone and welcome to CIPS Futures podcast. I'm Emma Scott and I'm taking over hosting duties for a few episodes for the CIPS Foundation mini-series. For those of you who still aren't aware of CIPS Foundation, we exist to transform people's lives through professionalising procurement and supply chains. By using best practice procurement as a system lever, the Foundation is tackling environmental and social change head-on to embed lasting systemic change. Our funded programs implement procurement and supply chain interventions to address climate action, economic inequality, reduce hunger and poverty, and tackle human rights abuses. What sets us apart from other grant makers is the expertise and intervention that CIPS brings to these projects. Our global standards in procurement and supply create lasting change. By professionalising procurement and supply, we embed solid foundations for sustainable growth and create agents of change. One of our key themes this year is tackling human rights in supply chains. We're continuing to fund the work with modern slavery charity Unseen for a second year, and we're delighted to be funding ActionAid, who are working with cocoa farmers in 2 cocoa producing areas of Ghana. The project aims to help the Ghanaian government enforce its National Action Plan on business and human rights to deliver a 20% reduction in child labour in cocoa growing areas. The effects of child labour are severe, and Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, which collectively produce nearly 60% of the world's cocoa, have recently been at the centre of global campaigns against child labour. This mini-series is designed to bring you best practice advice from a variety of voices, and I won't give too much away just yet, but we've got some great speakers coming up. First up, we're delighted to be joined by the team at ActionAid and welcome Afram Kwame, Regional Project Manager at ActionAid Ghana. Hi Afram, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
My name is Kwame Afram Denchira. I work with ActionAid Ghana as a project manager for a project titled Advancing Rights and Combating Child Labor in the Cocoa Value Chains in Ghana, mainly sponsored by Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply in UK. And the aim of the project is to look at how we can strengthen institutional as well as community structures to fight or campaign against child labor in the cocoa production value chain.
Can you just give us a little flavour about the severity of the problem? Like, how big is this issue that you're trying to tackle with child labour in cocoa farming?
Child labour is a global issue as included in the Sustainable Development Goals. Specifically target 8.7 to end all forms of child labor by 2015. However, the global trend shows alarming rise in the number of estimated child labor, particularly in Africa. According to International Labour Organization and UNICEF, Sub-Saharan Africa has the largest number of child laborers as a region, which is 86.6 million, accounting more than half of 160 million child laborers around the world. This phenomenon, if continues, limits children's access to school and health care, in most cases, infringing on their fundamental human rights and threatening their future. When we narrow it to Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, which collectively produce nearly 60% of world's cocoa, have recently been at the center of global campaign against child labor. A study conducted recently in 2020 found out that approximately 1.56 million children were involved in child labor in these 2 regions or 2 countries. In Ghana, the prevalence of child labor among children aged 5 to 17 in cocoa growing areas was over 55%, with many children combining school attendance with intensive labor on family farms. It is further reported in 2024, there are 230,000 children between the ages of 5 to 14 are engaged in economic activities with higher population in rural areas as compared to urban settings. So among these children, almost 80% are involved in the agricultural sector, which also include cocoa production chains. So with this evidence and statistics, one can see that the issue of child labor is very severe in Ghana.
That's interesting that a lot of these children are working on family farms. So do you think that the biggest part of this problem with child labour in cocoa farming exists, and is that driving it because this is family-run businesses and farming production that just need everyone to pitch in, so children are getting pulled in, or is the problem a bit wider than that?
The main driving force of this issue, the child labor, issue of child labor, has to do with one, poverty, multidimensional aspect of it. Poverty where most people think that they are poor and they are doing their farming, they may not be able to access labor from the adult population. Most especially women farmers who are not all that economically sound tend to rely on children as cheap labor because they may not be able to afford labor from the adult folks. So poverty is also one of the key issues. Another issue that can be also looked at is the socio-cultural norms of communities. Communities think, some of them think that farming has been their occupation and they need to hand over this occupation to their children. So in one way or the other, these children will be accompanying their parents and then to their farms, and they will be engaged in this cocoa farming one way or the other. So you can see that the society looks at it as handing over their occupation to their children so that when they grow, they can also become farmers. And they see nothing wrong with it. They see it as normal.
And Afram, this would have been gone on for generations and generations, wouldn't it? So this is passed, no doubt, passed through the family cocoa farming for multiple generations. So yes, I can understand how that would seem like a social norm.
Yeah, they see it as essential norm that they had to pass on to the generations to come, future, at the expense of their education. Because usually when they are engaged, they are sending them to the farms and other things. They also do that at the expense of their education. Another area that can also be looked at is inadequate, decent work in place for younger generations. People may start working from 12 years, 13 years, but there is no decent work in place. So instead of them to stay idle, they will also look at how they can be occupied or engaged. And it affects, they tend to be involved in this child labor within the cocoa value chain. We may also not lose sight of lack of protective social systems to protect these children from the duty bearers, to protect them, lack of accountability and other things, for people to really provide adequate protection for children so that they cannot involve themselves in these child labor issues.
We understand the problem. We understand the drivers behind that now. So tell us more about the work that ActionAid is doing to address these and to make some positive change. What steps are you hoping to put in place?
As a result of the above, the severity of the issue of child labor in place, and identifying the possible drivers, ActionAid Ghana developed a project which is mainly funded by Chartered Institutes of Procurement and Supply UK, and it's titled Advancing Rice and Combating Child Labor in the Cocoa Growing Areas in Ghana. The project has a duration of 1 year, which we are thinking we are piloting it and learn from it so that we can redesign the project to scale up into other cocoa growing areas in Ghana, learning from the successes that we have taught. We are currently targeting 2 out of 16 regions who are mainly cocoa growing regions. And within these 2 regions, we are also looking at 4 districts, 2 in each region, where we will be engaging the people on how we can strengthen the community structures as well as the state institutions responsible for child protection. So currently, we are trying to establish community structures for they themselves to monitor these child labor issues and probably look at how they can report to the state institutions responsible. Some of the state institutions that we have identified and we are collaborating effectively with are Department of Social Welfare, and we have the local governance itself, that is the district and municipal assemblies, who are directly in charge of child protections in the respective districts. We are also collaborating with Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice for them to intensify their education on human rights issues, which of course includes children's rights. So the criminal aspect of this, we are also not leaving out domestic violence and victim support units of Ghana Police Service. So we think that, and the Labor Department, we are not leaving out the farmers themselves. We are working closely with these people, women farmers, cooperative associations, and farmer groups in their communities, just to improve the awareness on the effects and the impact of child labor on the future of our children and the future generation at large. So far, these are the things that we are doing as an organization. We have 2 main output areas within this particular project. The first one has to do how we will strengthen community structures to take care of this child labor campaign, just to let it be sustainable. So in case ActionAid is not there, the community themselves have become aware of dangers of child labor, and they are going to take it along with them. And we think it's more sustainable. Another output area is to how to popularize National Action Plan on business and human rights issues. Because Ghana launched its National Action Plan on business and human rights policy in last July. So we ask ourselves, how many people are aware of this policy? And it has become necessary for us to look at how the policy is being implemented and how we can take along people within the business community as well as within the cocoa sector. So technically, we are looking at how we are dealing with the various sectorial sectors to collectively work to eliminate child labor.
I think it's fabulous as well, because I know that the Ghanaian government has enforced its national action plan around business and human rights. But you're absolutely right. Unless there's an education plan around this, unless you can raise awareness of the issues and the requirements of this action plan, then not much is going to change. So engaging with the cocoa farmers, with families, with young people, I think it's really great project. I'm very, very excited, and CIPS are really proud to be supporting it too. So what has been, and I know it's not long been started as well, but it is only a year-long project. But what has been the impact of the work that has been done so far? Tell us a little bit about how what's been done so far and how you're measuring the success and the impact of the project.
It's been interesting. People are actually buying in the concepts, the ideas. Everybody is willing, including the traditional authorities. They are all coming up in their numbers and pledging their support to ensure that this project is successful. Let me say that, for example, the communities willingly have nominated people representing various interest groups within the communities to serve as child protection committees. We have people representing the traditional authorities in the communities. We have people representing the school. We have people representing the local government. We have others representing women's group. Women's group. They are also represented on the committee, and then the youth are also represented. So you can see that when you go to any typical Ghanaian community, we have these interest groups coming together, forging with ActionAid to work to eliminate child labor. At the state institutional level, which is mainly at the district level, we are also closely working. They are collaborating. Even today, they are asking for us to meet as stakeholders at the district level to see how district level child protection committees can work effectively and link it up with the community level child protection committees. So for me, in brief, I would say that there is a total or 100% buy-in from the communities as well as the state institutions, which is a success. And you ask of measurements of the impacts. Yes, we are now establishing the baseline. We started the process to get the baseline, know the level of awareness that has been created on child labor and business, National Action Plan on business, on human rights. So after the establishment of the baseline, which is nearly at the beginning of the project, when we are getting to the end of the project, we'll have end-line evaluation, and that will give us a clear feedback on what we are doing, what we have achieved so far. Notwithstanding the baseline and then the end-line evaluations, we are also looking at taking quotes from community members, getting feedback from them through the engagement sessions that we are having, taking regular feedback through our monitoring and in our reports. Those indicators sets will be tracked carefully to ensure that we are getting there. So these are the things, even though the project has not started long, these are key things that we are doing to measure the impact that we are getting from the project.
One of the things I really like about this project is just how collaborative it is. I mean, these are such complex issues that can't be tackled easily, that need all, like you say, need all these people to come together. The agencies that are there to help people, the guidance from the government, families, the cocoa farmers, etc. This isn't an issue that can be tackled in isolation. So that collaborative nature of the project is really great. Avram, I wonder if you would be able to finish this, your message really, with some help to our members. So we have members all over the world. We have members in over 150 countries, and they're all managing supply chains of different complexities wherever they are. What would your message be to CIPS members on how their actions could maybe address the existence of child labour in supply chains? Whether that's identifying what's going on, conversations they can be having. What one tip would you give to our members?
First of all, I would like to take the opportunity to commend CIPS members for their immense support, which is also aiming at seeing children's future. Their support is actually helping us to ensure that our children are safe and we have good future generation. And I encourage them to do that. And to the entire world, I think this collective venture that we can all venture to ensure that we get all our children in school. So ActionAid and CIPS are doing very good job. And we want to learn a lot from this particular pilot project and for possible scalability, because we are looking at the successes that we will gain here and then redesign the project based on the successes that we achieved. So once again, we will commend CIPS for their benevolence, for their support, and encourage them for us to partner with a credible organization like ActionAid.
Well, thank you, Afram, for joining us. It was really great to have you. It's a fabulous project. We're so excited to be funding it. We really look forward to more updates throughout the year. So keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm most grateful for the opportunity.
This is the first of 3 episodes for this series, so do join us next time for an exciting conversation with a brand I'm sure many of you will know, Tony's Chocolonely. We'll hear from their Chief of Impact and Operations, Pascal Balterson, about all the work they're doing to tackle human rights in cocoa farming supply chains, how they're engaging with communities on the ground, and their advice for other procurement professionals. But that's it from this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, including the rest of this mini podcast brought to you by CIPS Foundation. This podcast has been brought to you by CIPS, the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. For more information on CIPS, and more importantly CIPS Foundation, head over to cips.org, where you can find out more about the projects that we are supporting and the impact they are making. For now though, that's it from us. See you next time.